Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Capital Pulse and the Friday Foundations. Today we're going to be talking about, once again, Milton Friedman and the framework of why economic freedom is your best business partner. So let's get right into it. Happy Friday, everybody. We want to talk about banking and taxes, but we're going to go a little deeper every day, and especially today. Every business owner feels a hidden tax. It's the friction of the government regulations and the mystery of why prices are keep rising. Today, we're looking at the foundations of economic theory through the lens of Milton Friedman to show you how these macro ideas hit your micro bottom line. So, basically, Friedman famously said there are four ways to spend money as a business owner. Understanding this tells you exactly why the government systems often feel inefficient compared to yours. So, what's the breakdown? Spend your money on yourself. You're careful with your cost and your quality. Or you can spend your money on someone else, careful with the cost, but less so on the quality, kind of like a gift. Spending someone else's money on yourself, careful with the quality, but you don't care about the cost so much. Think about the expense account. Or spending someone else's money on someone else. You don't care about the cost or the quality. So, government regulations often fall into the category number four, spending someone else's money on someone else. When you understand that the system isn't designed for your efficiency, you realize that you've built your own internal systems to bypass the waste. So, the regulation tax on your business. This is the internal problem that you have to face. Friedman argued that the hands that feed you can also choke you to death. Every time new regulation is passed, it's not just a rule, it's a compliance cost. For small business owners, that cost is regressive. It hits you harder than it hits the giant businesses. And from a business banking perspective, we see regulation crowding. When the government overregulates the flow of capital, it's really harder for banks to get a loan into your hands as a business to help you grow. So, regulation is friction in your engine. So, the three-step foundational plan to be able to figure this out. How does a business owner apply Friedman's theory to themselves today? One, audit your compliance costs. Calculate exactly how many hours you spend on government paperwork. That is your freedom tax. Can you automate that? Can you find a way for AI to be able to pick that up from you? Number two, focus on the invisible hand. Freeman believed in the power of the consumer. If a regulation is making your service worse, communicate that to your customers. Transparency builds loyalty with the customers so they understand your cost of doing business. Inflation is a policy, not an accident. Let me say that again. Inflation is a governmental policy. Freeman taught us that inflation is always and everywhere a monetary phenomenon. If the government is printing money, your cash value is melting. It's getting smaller. So, one of the actions you want to think about is don't sit on idle cash. Move it into appreciating assets, hard assets, real estate, equipment that's going to produce some sort of return for you, or growing your business. The stakes. If you understand these foundations, you're playing a game where the rules are changing and you don't even know why. But if you understand that economic freedom is the fuel to your business, you can build a system that thrives, even when the macro environment is a big mess. So, Milton Friedman said, I'm in favor of cutting taxes under any circumstances and for any excuse for any reason, whenever it's possible. So, on this Friday, your goal is to find out one way to cut the hidden tax of efficiency in your operations. So, I'm Jeff Ogan, and as always, reminding you keep your finger on the capital pulse of your business. And I'll see you next time.